Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and Andy's back.
I'm here. I am sleeveless. We are ready to sweat today. Work up some energy, Michael.
That's right. If we're speaking a little quicker today, it's because we can't run the AC in the studio while we talk. So
yeah,
it's going to be a quick one. Got to get home for lunch.
Don't know if you guys know this. The East Coast is in the middle of a heat wave right now.
Everything is, dude.
God.
Everything is. It's hot even in the north. They dealt with crazy snow, and now they're dealing with crazy heat. And they're like, shut up down there. At least you don't have the crazy snow. But guys, before we get into this insane case today, I got to remind you that you can catch these episodes early and ad-free on Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. Also, you can check out our other shows here on the free platform like Strange and Unexplained, Sandu Stories, and Cryptic Soup with Dina and Kylie, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, give Cryptic Soup a follow on social media at Cryptic Soup Pod. Right now, they are not making new episodes, but there is a huge back catalog to listen to there, and who knows? Maybe they'll get back into it one day, but there's still plenty of entertainment for you guys to listen to. Also, give us a follow on social media at True Crime Guys, wherever you are, so you can stay up to date on everything that's going on in the true crime world and all the crazy cases we cover. Like this one today, it is about some people I know nothing about, Andy, even though they are allegedly stars. Or not allegedly, they are. They're TikTok stars. I'm just very unfamiliar with TikTok. You know, I'm TikTok's worst fan.
Right now, do you need to throw stars with quotation marks up there for you, Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A million followers on TikTok is like, are you even trying?
Yeah. Throw an asterisk up there.
You're crazy if you don't think fame on TikTok means less. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It does. It equates to less money. It equates to less fame. It equates to less ads. It equates to less money, most importantly. I mean, it does.
Yeah, I just feel like it just decreases the longevity of your fame.
Yeah.
If your fame can only last for 3 minutes at a time, well, how much fame can you really have?
Right. And then also, I don't think it so much lies in the creators. It's not so much their fault. It's the viewer. It's the people that create your fame. Their attention spans are so short. They're constantly moving on to something else. It doesn't even matter if you're constantly creating amazing content. And I know that because I've done that myself, right? I'll follow a creator for a little while and be like, oh yeah, I'm watching everything they're putting up. And then all of a sudden I just stop. And they didn't stop doing anything. It's just I'm just not interested in your videos anymore. I've seen enough of it.
15 minutes is up.
Yeah,
like that's how short our attention spans are now.
Exactly. And on TikTok, it's even shorter than that. That's why 1 million followers don't matter. It's like you got 1 million followers. Okay, well, how many people watch your videos on the daily? 10,000? It's like, okay, yeah, that's a lot. But you have 1 million followers.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's just on YouTube, it's a whole different thing. It just seems like you got 1 million followers on YouTube, you're doing it full time.
Oh yeah, you would be.
But there's people who have 1 million followers on TikTok, bro, and they're just in high school. And they're still having to work at Ingles, bro.
This is my side job.
Yeah, they're working at the grocery store to make ends meet still. It's not the same.
No, not at all.
It's not the same. Okay, that's my rant about TikTok. I'm
sorry. Get it out of your system, Michael.
Yeah, I'm done. But today we're talking about the death of Riley Goodrich and Anthony Barajas. They were murdered in 2021 while on a date, actually. Their very first date at a movie theater, Andy. It's senseless. The only way to describe this case is absolute senseless.
The fact is, and the deeper we get into it, just like the just abruptness of it too, like the almost like execution gangland style of this murder is just like shocking for this.
It really is. And the fact that we don't have any answers and we can't fill in the gaps of like the actual, we know what happened according to, the crime scene and the evidence, right? There's bullet entry wounds and whatnot. You can do quite a bit with that, right? But what escalated this person? That's the whole thing about this case. It's like what escalated them, what made them do this. And of course, we got to talk about mental disorders and things like that in this case as well. So here we go, guys. This is a crazy one. Andy, roll that intro. Let's get into it.
Righto.
Hey, look at me, bro. Look at me. Look at me.
Courtroom deputies ushering Joseph Jimenez past the screaming father of one of the victims. The 20-year-old is accused of shooting at a Corona theater. The DA also filing a special circumstance allegation of lying in wait.
With that allegation, it's a range of life without the possibility of parole to a potential death penalty.
He needs to burn in hell. It was like a real date, you know. We go to dinner and then go to a movie, and she curled her hair on her way out.
All right. So first, let's get to know Riley Goodrich. Okay, she was a TikTok star with over 100,000 followers. 100,000 followers, Andy.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know if that's really good on TikTok.
I mean, I feel like it's little fish, maybe.
It's little fish.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't really matter. It's not really important. But she posted content about friends, romance, parties, drinking, boys, and dancing, and all kinds of shit like that. She had long blonde hair. She was fit. She had bright bluish eyes, and she lived in California. Riley was a recent high school graduate cheerleader and volleyball player. She was given a scholarship to Grand Canyon University in its STEM program. Riley posted on her Instagram on June 3rd, 2020, "To the graduating class of 2020. We've been through fires, pandemics, protests, deaths, and the loss of our senior year. All I can say is we all experienced some things that no other graduating class will. If you haven't heard, I'll be continuing my education and club volleyball career at GCU." And it says, "Lopes up. Love you all. Stay strong." I don't know what lopes up is.
I don't know. We're too old for that. I'm probably some slang.
Yeah, probably. Also, if you have any following at all, not a good idea to tell people where you're going to be attending school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. To an extent, yeah. It gives
I don't think so. It didn't really affect the outcome of this case. But when I was first looking into it, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Someone found you at your new school. Probably some stalker, right?
That is one of those things a lot of those young influencers run into. It's like they want to be famous, and they have to try and figure out how much of their life they can share.
Or even worse, some of them aren't even thinking about that. They're just sharing stuff all willy-nilly, like just oblivious, not thinking that the next predator could be watching your page constantly, and you're sitting here telling people where you're going, where your plans are. It's like for instance, you tell them you're going to GCU next year. Okay, they know you're moving in August. They know you're a freshman. They know you're in the freshman dorms. They know they can figure out where the freshman dorms are. Now they've narrowed it down to a building. Now they sit outside the building and wait until you come in and out.
Yeah,
I know I'm being paranoid, but people get killed like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, better to be paranoid than alive, I always say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's going to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona, and that was always her dream. That's the school she wanted to go to. One of her fellow classmates described her. She said everywhere she went, she lit up the room with her smile, and she was always nice to everybody. Well, if you've watched any true crime docs, you know that's just creepy. It's just a bad sign. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like I'm almost surprised that in 2020 people were still given this description of people who were murdered.
Yeah, so it's so cliche.
I know it sounds
almost
insensitive to say, but I'm just making an outside observation here. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, it's like, really? You said she lit up the room in 2020?
It's so cliche.
2020. Anyways.
No one was in rooms in 2020. We were all sequestered.
Right. We couldn't tell because we were all 6 feet apart outside. No, but Riley's family says that she met Anthony Barajas over the 4th of July weekend in 2021. And her family remembers her being super excited to go on a date with him. Now, her dad was a little skeptical at first, of course, as most dads are, right?
Yeah.
But he's also not excited that he's a TikTok star that she's dating, okay? So let's talk a little bit more about Anthony. He was a TikTok star with 930,000 followers, just under 1 million.
Okay.
Just under, hadn't quite hit that million mark.
Like I said,
he was on his way.
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish. But Anthony liked posting funny videos, soccer videos, workout challenges, and lip syncing videos. He was 19 years old, and he was also a recent graduate. He went to Mater Day High School in Santa Ana, where he was a soccer star, and he liked to longboard, sing, and travel. And speaking of traveling, Anthony had just got back from Hawaii when he picked up Riley for their first date. And he even gave each of Riley's family members a souvenir from the trip. What a gentleman.
Aww.
What a gentleman. So, that's a great way to make a good impression. Bring gifts.
Suck up.
Yeah, right? But Anthony and Riley were going to go on a date on Monday, July 26th to the 9:35 p.m. showing of The Forever Purge. It's kind of ominous,
right?
The Forever Purge. I'm not really a fan of the Purge series.
I feel like it gave too many people too many ideas.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. I'm just not a fan of promoting that. But I watched a trailer for this one because I had no idea. But it's apparently the last installment in the Purge series, the Forever Purge.
Yeah, the most recent one at least.
Yeah. Now, there was a small audience for that showing of the movie, and I mean very small. There was only 6 tickets purchased. So apparently a lot of people agree with us, Andy.
Right, yeah. What was this, like a matinee?
9:35 showing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. Now, these 6 tickets included Riley and Anthony. Among the other people who purchased tickets, there was a man named Joseph Jimenez. He was 20 years old, and 3 of his friends also had tickets. About halfway through the movie, Joseph actually left for about 5 minutes and then returned to the theater with a bag under his arm. He told his friends he had a strap. Now, Joseph's friends assumed that he meant a gun, but instead of telling anyone who worked there or informing the police, they just told Joseph they all needed to go to the bathroom, and they just ditched him. They went outside to the parking lot and waited.
I mean, to be fair, I get it at the same time to be like, to not really know what to do. There's nobody there, and you don't think he's planning to like shoot up the theater. You probably think he's doing this to like show off to his friends. And this sounds like something like the uncool person who like they're hanging out with this guy. They don't really know him,
right?
And he's like oh, this will impress these guys. But if I go out to my car and come back with this gun, I can show them this gun, and they'll think I'm fucking hardcore. And he literally went out there and was like, yo, man, I went and got my strap. His friends were like, cool, man. And all just like side eyed each other, like, we gotta all go to the bathroom.
Yeah. The same time, man.
Like, just being like, and just everybody just filed out and being like, all right, yeah, let's just, all right, you want to go Waffle House? Yeah, let's go Waffle.
Well, apparently they waited in the theater for a little bit. We'll get to that. They didn't leave right away, but they definitely got the hell out the theater.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, eventually.
Okay. So now this left Joseph alone in the theater with Anthony and Riley. Now, around this time, with the movie drawing to a close, Riley texted her dad saying that the movie was pretty boring. Typical teenage response, right? It's like they could literally be watching the Holocaust take place. They'd be like, boring. Oh my God, it's so boring. I saw this on TikTok.
You could watch.
I saw the good parts on TikTok.
You can literally show some of the younger generation some of the most amazing things of cinema, and they'll just be like, just looking at their phone half the time. Like, you son of a bitch!
Boring. But Joseph's friends later told the police that they were still in the parking lot when they saw him run out of the theater and get into his vehicle and then speed away. And when the police entered the theater, they found that Riley and Anthony had each been shot in the head, execution style. Riley was fatally shot in the back of the head at point-blank range. Anthony was shot in the eye, and it sounded like he swerved or turned around and that the bullet hit him sideways to go through his eye instead of the back of his head. So maybe he had shot Riley first.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But then, I don't know. The evidence states that he shot Anthony first. We'll talk about it. But authorities also say that the shooting was unprovoked, and they don't even think the shooter knew the victims at all. They weren't able to make any type of connect between them. An employee at the Regal Edwards Cinema said that her name was Kaylin Dillon. She told a news station that during the actual movie time, no one heard the gunshots. No one heard the gunshots.
You're in the purge. You're in the middle of a movie about lawless crime going on during like the one day of the year or whatever, where it's a bunch of gunshots and bombs going off and all this stuff. It's like, it probably would be hard to hear a gunshot if he chose the right time in the movie to fire off when there's a bunch of explosions and gunshots happening.
Yeah.
If that theater's loud enough, people might not notice.
And with the speaker system, the bass, the way the sound travels. Yeah. And they're made to isolate sound.
Yeah. The whole theater is designed for acoustics and to keep that sound in. That's why if you close those doors in a movie theater, you don't hear every single thing throughout the theater.
Exactly. Could be why the shooter in Aurora, Colorado chose a theater as well. Mm-hmm. And this happened just 1 week after the 9th anniversary of the Aurora shooting. And if you're not familiar, that's where James Holmes took a gun into the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises and killed 12 people. 70 were injured.
God, I remember that was one of the most horrifying times.
Absolutely terrifying, man. Maybe not even want to go to the movies. Mm-hmm. Now, there is some speculation that this could have influenced this event, but I don't really think so. I don't really think they're tied together. I think you just got two troubled individuals is what you have here.
Oh, yeah.
But when the shooting occurred, the investigators were stunned to not have any calls during the event. No evidence, no calls about gunshots, no suspicious activity. No one said they heard anything outside the theater, and no one in the theater other than Riley, Anthony, and there was no one in that actual theater other than Riley, Anthony, and Joseph. That's it.
Because the other friends had already left at this point.
That's right. Investigators were asking for anyone in adjacent theaters with possible information, please, to come forward. And also, this is awful because the bodies of Anthony and Riley weren't even found until around midnight. Long after the movie had ended. I mean, and employees started cleaning the theater. One employee said in a police report that there were two people with a lot of blood and they couldn't tell if they were alive or not.
I mean, at this point, that movie probably ended hours ago.
Well, look, it started at 9:35.
And they're obviously...
Even if it's 2 hours, it's been over for over 30 minutes.
Yeah. And it's like if there's no other showing in there, so there's nothing else going on there, that's one of the last theaters they probably go and clean.
No doubt. Police said that Anthony had multiple shots to the head, and some of the bullets were actually still lodged in his skull. Now, during this time, Anthony was still alive, believe it or not, struggling and fighting for his life. Riley was pronounced dead at the scene, but Anthony was rushed to Riverside Community Hospital, where he was put on life support.
I mean, if this is like we talked about, like the people not hearing the gunshot, again, if you have a small enough caliber weapon, like a 22 or something like that, it's going to be a quieter shot to an extent.
Very true. And a 22 at close range would be deadly, and not many people would hear it. And
if the bullets are still in his skull, I mean, that indicates right there that he's not using a high caliber weapon to go all the way through the skull.
Very true. Very true. And I couldn't find what caliber he was using. But authorities easily narrowed down who the shooter was, and Joseph Jimenez was taken into custody only a day after being arrested. Police took Joseph into custody while serving a search warrant at his home just outside the Corona city limits. While searching his house, they found a handgun of the exact same caliber as the gun used at the theater. Andy. Shocker. They also found a wallet belonging to one of the victims and a movie ticket to the 9:35 showing of The Forever Purge at Regal Cinema. He kept the movie ticket too.
And he kept one of their wallets?
And he kept a wallet.
That's ridiculous. Why would you keep their whole wallet?
Maybe he did it as a robbery.
But still, why would you keep the whole wallet? You're supposed to go out, like, even if you rob somebody for like that stuff, anybody who robs,
keepsake.
Like, you take like the money out or you take the credit card, you go try and use it, and then you ditch that. You don't keep all of it.
Maybe he's a freaking psychopath, dude.
Yeah, this guy
took it as a keepsake.
I don't know. Yeah,
these were his first victims. He might have killed a bunch of people if he was smart.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm glad he was stupid.
Yeah, really. Now, the shooting had occurred on a Monday, and between the time of the shooting, the trials being scheduled, and all the legal indictments, Joseph was told that he was no longer getting a single murder charge, but now he's getting two, because on the Saturday after the shooting, Anthony died after being removed from life support. Oh
yeah, like I said, if this is like a 22 caliber bullet that's gone into his head, that's ricocheted around his brain probably. He's probably brain dead.
Absolutely. And in addition to the 2 counts of murder, there was another count for robbery because he stole Riley's wallet. Also, Joseph was going to get charged with a special circumstance of multiple murder and a special circumstance of lying in wait because he sneaked up and attacked the victims. I didn't even know that was another charge, lying in wait.
Maybe that's like a specific state charge or something. I don't know. Maybe
it's a California thing. And with these charges, they made the death penalty an option. Now, in the jailhouse interview, Joseph told Press Enterprise that he walked up behind the victims and he shot Anthony first. This made Riley sort of jump, and then he shot her, and then he ran from the theater. He said his heart was beating like crazy. Joseph said that if he could relive the night of the shooting, he would have left the theater first and not come back. Joseph had recently been diagnosed 8 months prior with schizophrenia, but had stopped taking his medication because he ran out of pills. He also said that he heard voices in his head, saying his friends and his family were going to be killed. So with that, he made the decision to kill Riley and Anthony. So the police asked, so you thought killing the 2 teens was the only way to save your loved ones? And he responded, basically, yeah. Bro, no, that's not good enough. Basically, yeah, that's not a time you can use that answer.
it sounds like you made it sounds like you're kind of making this up as
He's
you
like,
go.
yeah, that
It's like,
sounds good.
Yeah, it's like if you got diagnosed with schizophrenia and then you stopped taking your pills because you ran out, and if you did something, but like most people who have schizophrenia, they have legitimate hallucinations. They have legitimate audio or like, visual hallucinations or things that are telling them very specific things. And it's like they believe these false truths.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they're like, what was the if his like, well, yeah, basically,
It's like,
what was
dude,
the reasoning?
You're sitting in a movie watching people kill people for no fucking reason. And then you go out and get your gun, and then you sit behind people, and then you shoot 2 people. It's not fucking rocket science.
Yeah, it's like, this sounds like you got jumpy. You thought maybe this might be your chance to kill 2 people and get away with it, and you did. But that doesn't sound like a schizophrenic outburst to an extent. Especially if his friends didn't think like
it seems pretty thought out, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This seems very meticulously planned. You got a gun off the internet. You brought it with you to the movie theater with your friends. It's like, why did you think you needed to kill these 2 people to save your friends and family?
Right. It also sucks that the friends didn't think, like, if they thought that he was so dangerous that they should leave for their own safety, it's like, you didn't think maybe tap them on the shoulder and give them like a little heads up.
Yeah, or tell the movie theater people.
It's like y'all felt so unsafe that y'all left, and you know him. So why?
Well, that's if you wonder if they felt unsafe or if they just felt like let's just leave.
Ditch him.
Yeah, let's just ditch him.
He's being fucking weird.
He's being weird tonight. I don't feel like dealing with this. Like
they wouldn't have thought he would go do that. Man.
Yeah, because like I genuinely think, like, if you think your friend is going to bring a gun into the theater to shoot up people, you don't go just wait out front. Like, because if you're going to leave, and unless you're part of this, like, you don't just go wait out front to see what happens. Like, they just think, oh, he's being fucking weird. He's trying to show off for us, and we don't think this is cool, so we're just going to leave and make a point.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. That's best case scenario, right?
Yeah,
I'm not blaming them.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt there, and hopefully that is more of the idea. It's like,
I'm sure they have survivor's guilt like a mofo.
Yeah, if you go wait outside, like, that's not something that you either don't know anything is about to happen, or you definitely do, and you're the getaway driver. But they clearly weren't.
No.
So
no, you don't. 3 people aren't the getaway driver.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You don't go wait outside unless you're the getaway driver.
Exactly. So Joseph's plan was to go with a plea of insanity in hopes that the death penalty would be dropped as an option. And he offered condolences to the victims' families and said, "I wish I didn't do it." And that didn't really help very much. Riley and Anthony's family, they really weren't feeling it. After Joseph's court appearance, while walking out, there's a verbal confrontation after the hearing where Riley's dad starts yelling at him, and then someone kind of grabs him before Joseph really looks in his direction. He doesn't, and the dad kind of gets teared up at the same time. You can tell he's trying to finish his sentence, and he just starts crying. And a friend grabs him and kind of pulls him back. But this all happened during COVID, so that put a lot of holds on court sessions. And the news of what was happening in Joseph's case was halted drastically. Now, in the meantime, though, this case was kind of gaining some momentum, both on social media and in the news. Friends left messages written in chalk on the pavement outside the theater. They also left flowers and trinkets. A life-size cutout of Riley in a graduation gown and cap stood outside the theater entrance. Vigils were held in honor of the 2 victims, including an outpouring of emotion at the New Beginnings Community Church in Norco, where Riley was remembered. Her mother spoke out during this time. She said, "She's my baby, my firstborn, and she got ripped away doing something so innocent, and it breaks my heart. Poor Anthony. They were just starting their relationship. He's a beautiful boy, and my heart goes out to his family," end quote. And there was another large crowd that attended a vigil for Anthony at Santa Ana's Mater Dei High School. And during the vigils and during interviews, a lot of people spoke out about the event. Here's one from Anthony's soccer coach. He says, "There aren't adequate words to explain how special Anthony is and what an impact he had on so many people's lives. Anthony is an exceptional man of character and a true example of what it means to be a servant leader. MD Soccer is grateful for the legacy Anthony left with the program, and we continue to pray for Anthony and the entire Barajas family during this difficult time." A GoFundMe page was created to help cover Riley's funeral expenses, and the campaign raised over $67,000, exceeding its goal of $50,000, not $50.
Yeah.
Obviously. Another was created to help with Anthony's cost as well.
That's just crazy still to know that that's how much a funeral can cost sometimes. Like,
ain't that bullshit?
It's
dude?
just ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous that a death can bankrupt a family. That is absolutely ridiculous. But finally, in early 2024, we got answers. In an emotional sentencing hearing, Joseph Jimenez received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Now, despite the arguments from his attorney that Jimenez was insane at the time of the killings, the judge ruled that he was aware of his actions and their wrongfulness, and had the opportunity to cease his actions. Also, Jimenez was handed an additional sentence of 50 years to life for lying in wait and for having multiple victims at once. Now, the victim impact statements delivered during the hearing were emotional and powerful. While Goodrich's parents were a little too devastated, they were too devastated to attend. They really were. But her grandfathers and her grandparents, rather, and her best friends spoke on her behalf. And in a brief statement to the court, Jimenez offered condolences to the families and expressed remorse, wishing that he had made some different choices. Even the judge was emotional, at times, choking up on the bench. But addressing Jimenez, he said, "You are incapable of remorse. You knew what you were doing." And following the proceedings, the families expressed agreement with the judge's ruling, but acknowledged that nothing could bring back their loved ones.
Yeah.
It's just senseless, man. That's no other way to wrap it up. It's absolutely senseless.
And that's one of the most, that's just such a poignant line about the justice system. It's like, yeah, people can get justice, they can get vengeance or whatever, but it's like, it doesn't bring back the loved one. It doesn't bring back the life that was lost. It's like
it's just so stupid, man.
So just
It
this
really
senseless
is.
violence, you can't make up for it. You can't, it's like, oh, this person goes to jail for the rest of their life. It's like, that doesn't make up for the fact that he just violently, senselessly murdered two people in cold blood.
Dude, and what's crazy is they're just the beginning. When you look at like TikTok stars who have met ill fates. But again, like I say, the TikTok star tag gets used pretty loosely. Okay, anybody that is an influencer on TikTok of any size, they say is a TikTok star, right? And I'm not saying that TikTok has led to these murders, but there's quite a few. Here's a few notable ones. Desaria Schaefer, she died at just 18 years old when her father was implying that it was from a suicide. Apparently, there's some evidence to suggest not. The young social media star had 1.7 million followers on TikTok. And there's a Brazilian influencer, Elaine Ferreira Soilin. She shared a revealing post. According to some reports, her husband, Alejandro Antonio, shot and killed her in January of 2021. She was 35, and he shot her 14 times. And she was killed in front of her daughter while they were attending a family barbecue. Her daughter was just 6. Jeez. And then Alejandro turned the gun on himself and shot himself in the head.
Jesus.
Golly, man. Talk about dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, in front of everybody, too.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
14 bullets, too.
Almighty. Then you have Alexis Sharkey, 26-year-old. She shared content from her travels and life experiences. She had 1.3 million likes on TikTok, and Sharkey's body was found amongst brush on the side of the road in Houston, Texas on November 28, 2020, and her murder was ruled as death by strangulation. Now, see, I think this might be a case of sharing too much. Alexis Sharkey.
Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the, like just like you talked about. It's just like somebody may have been following you a little too closely.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know who your followers really are at this point.
Nope.
But someone's watching you closer than you realize.
When you got 1.3 mil, you don't know who's in there.
No. And then and it just keeps growing sometimes. Like this girl who's next. Jeez.
Yep. Like Madama Miller. She's 19, better known as Suave. She had over 3.7 million followers on TikTok. He did. He had 3.7 million followers due to his amazing dance skills, apparently. The rising star tragically died in July of 2021 after sustaining a gunshot wound. Miller was reportedly gunned down in broad daylight while in Wilmington, Delaware.
God, yeah. Sounds like it's just like almost like gangland at this point.
Yeah. Sia Kakar, she died at 16 years old by suicide. She had 1.1 million followers on TikTok. I mean, the list goes on, dude. Gabby Petito was technically a TikTok
She
star.
was an influencer.
Yeah, an influencer. So, the list goes on, man. And it's sad. It's terrifying. And like I said before, it's just I think a lot of times these kids are just sharing too much.
People want
They're
to
sharing too much personal information. I don't mean you're making too much content. You're just sharing too much personal information. You don't realize it.
the idea of becoming an influencer has become such a prevalent career option. It's become such a real job for people that so many young people don't know how to, like I said, like balance that life of like you have a role that you play and then there's your real life. Like famous people beforehand, they were actors. Like they understood like when these actors became influential, it's like they understood, it's like, oh, you know me as this character I play. It's like you trust that character, so why don't you trust me when I advertise for this brand or something like that? Like that whole mentality.
Right, yeah.
But these influencers and stuff, they don't have that kind of background. They don't have that like, oh, you know me from this TV show, or you know me from, my work in this. It's like they just start here and then they start moving into ads. And it's just like they start moving into all this kind of like fame to an extent. And they don't know how to balance am I famous for me or for what I've done type deal. So they start bringing too much of themselves into it.
Yep.
They start revealing way too much about their lives, their
but
schedule,
to be fair,
their habits,
the more you share, the more people respond. So if you really want to be successful, you do have to share a certain amount.
So many, that's what I'm saying. Like the people, like they want to be very in touch with their followers. They want to feel connected. They want their followers to feel seen. And it's like people start revealing way too much about themselves. And that's why a lot of these influencers have struggled with stalkers and things like that.
That's right. And then if you have Oh My Guy, you smell amazing too. And then people want to be around you even more.
God, if a stalker's wearing Oh My Guy, it's a really conflicting situation.
It is.
It's like, stay 50 feet away from me. But maybe 25 feet.
Maybe 25. You smell amazing.
Maybe 25 feet.
But Oh My Guy is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. And guys, there's tons of scents to choose from, like vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, and of course, True Crimepine. And there's so many more, guys, on ohmygaia.com, ohmygaia.com. You can also check them out at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word Crimepine, no spaces, Crimepine, Crimepine, for 15% off your order at ohmygaia.com. That's ohmygaia.com. Again, that's Crimepine, and it's right below the description of this episode, so you don't forget it. And you won't regret it, guys. Just like Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where you can hear everything we have ever created, as well as get early access to these episodes with bonus content and no frickin' ads. Right, Andy?
Never need them ads.
And no frickin' ads. We don't need any. Also, guys, for this episode, big special thanks to Thina. Thina, thank you so much for this amazing timeline and for this case suggestion and for everything you're doing for the show. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for running the social media. Guys, if you have a case suggestion, hit us up on social media. It will certainly get to us, and we'll look into it. All right? But what else we got, Andy? We got anything else? Any more announcements?
Not any more announcements right now, Michael.
All right.
We're going to try and survive this heat wave out here.
That's right. Everybody stay cool, and we'll see you next week. Keep on creeping.
Bye.